What is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Welcome back here today to the SROS channel. And today I wanted to take a little bit of a break from the playoff talk. And I wanted to talk about the draft because you guys know that I love the draft, the cycle, the process, all of that. And just kind of maybe give you guys my unfiltered thoughts for 20 or so minutes, 30 or so minutes, however long this video is going to go. And just talk about some of these prospects that I just kind of want to mention. Maybe some of these guys are going back to school since we last talked about them. Or maybe that they are entering the transfer portal. Maybe I think their draft stock has gone up a little bit since watching them more now that the season is over, learning a couple more factors in general. So yeah, if you like draft talk, I don't know, it's not going to be like a podcast, but it's just going to be a sit down, kind of talk about a bunch of random things going forward. I'm going to, I think, do a new mock draft on Saturday, maybe like one last lottery sim. So this Sunday will be 2 weeks from the lottery, which is going to be Mother's Day again. It's a personal thing, maybe a selfish thing, but it's my little sister's graduation from college. So I have a lot going on that day. I'm literally going to be like live streaming the draft at like 3 to 3:45 in the hotel room, and then basically sprinting to the graduation, which starts at 4. Luckily, though, like if you've ever been to a college graduation, and with my last name starting with a G, she won't go on till like at least 5 o'clock. So I'll have more than enough time. It's just there's going to be so many factors in that window. And then I might fly to Chicago the next morning for the combine. Just going to be a hectic 24 hours. But hey, that's the name of the game. And I'm very lucky to do this. So we're going to talk about, I guess we could start at the top, right? Or I don't even know if I want to start at the top. We're going to go through maybe like Tankathon, maybe we run some sims, talk about the lottery, what these teams need. And then I have like my big board that I want to mention as well. So I guess I actually want to talk about some of the guys going back to school that I even had in my big board recently. So I had Braylon Mullins, 13 on my big board. Did I feel good about his spot? No, he's somebody that I kind of teetered with all year long at UConn because you had the lower body, or it was like an ankle injury, a foot injury going into the year, which he was pretty early on my preseason big board, which I can actually pull it up right here. So my first big board was this one. I had him 10 in my preseason big board, and then I had him 10 in my midseason big board. And then at the end of the year, I ended up dropping him down to 13. And you could be like, Matt, that is very generous because Braylon Mullins this year was wildly inconsistent for somebody that was supposed to be the best shooter maybe in this class going into the year. Shot 33.5% from 3 on 6.5 attempts. Now, I believe that if Braylon Mullins declared he was going to be a good shooter at the NBA level, I think he was a little bit better than McNeely. I feel like he was quicker getting off screens, definitely just a twitchier, faster player in general. And he fit, I thought, UConn's offense like a glove. I think he generated so many open looks this year because of being able to play off Alex Caravan and Solo Ball and Silas Demery and Taurus Reed, who sets elite screens for you coming off the ball. And I thought Mullins would have been a top 20 pick. I know a lot of people said, like, after he went back to school, it makes a lot of sense because he may have not been a first round pick in general, which, hey, I don't know what he's getting. Maybe it's public knowledge from UConn, but he's probably going to get at least next year, similar to what he would make in year 1 of this rookie deal. Obviously, you're getting a guaranteed year 2. And as long as you play all right, you're going to get most likely a guaranteed year 3 and 4. So it's not the craziest thing for him to go back. I have gotten a little bit to the 2027 draft class since we got like the Chipotle Nationals. We got EYBL stuff, but we got I'm blanking, the McDonald's All-American game and the Team USA Hoop Summit. Sorry, not Team USA, but the Nike Hoop Summit. I was trying to remember the word or the name of the game. So we know a little bit more about that class. There's definitely room for Mullins, Thomas Houck, and Patrick Gungba, the 3 guys that kind of shocked everybody and went back to school. Now, there's rumors right now that, well, it's not a rumor anymore, but Tonde Yesufu, 29th on my big board, also going back to school. Well, potentially going back to school, entering the transfer portal. For Mullins, officially going back to stores. Patrick Gungba officially going back to Duke, and Thomas Houck officially going back to Florida. These guys aren't even testing the waters. Now, I don't know if that affected their NIL package for next year. If they went into the NBA draft process, kept eligibility, and went back, maybe that could have costed them a little bit. Maybe they would have moved on. So I get it. I'm surprised that they didn't at least take a chance. Maybe they already know that they would not go where they want to go in the draft, but at least for Mullins, I think he had the highest ceiling out of those 3. Houck probably had the highest floor. I'm a little bit lower on Houck as a prospect. I had him at 26, and when Shams tweeted out that he was going to go back to school, he mentioned potential lottery pick. I was never going to, if I was a GM, I was never going to take him in the lottery. For most teams, like maybe San Antonio, if they were picking like 14 from Atlanta, I could think about that. They'll be picking a little bit lower, but like there's very few spots that I would have liked for Thomas Houck, and I do think he needs to showcase himself as a better shooter next year. Like I said about Mullins, it's a weaker class, but Houck definitely has a lower ceiling just because of his age. Like he's going to be, I think, like 24 years old to start of the 8 season, because he'll be in the 2027 draft. He'll be a 4-year senior, which is, I guess, rare nowadays. I don't know if he was in college in 2023, but you could see he improved a ton last year. 9.8 points to 17 points. Obviously in 2025, he was like this bench wing that was like a great cutter, could finish around the rim, and he was getting so many open looks from like Walter Clayton and Will Richard and Elijah Martin and those guys at Florida, and getting able to play with Kana in the front court. He comes into this year playing with Kana in the front court. The volume goes up, doubling his shots a night. Didn't really show that he could be a good three-point shooter. And that's another thing with like, sorry, I'm going back and forth a ton in this video, and that's what I want to do. Koa Pete was tough to rank for me because Hauk, I think, is going to be a better shooter, probably, unless Pete really figures it out as a shooter. Like Hauk, I think I think what his medium outcome would be like 34% from 3 to 4 attempts a night. Like, it's serviceable. It's not great, but I think you have to respect him out there. Koa Pete is somebody that I thought would maybe go back to school because I think his draft range is really tough right now because, I mean, at least here on Sports Reference, 6'8", 235, Hauk is not he doesn't weigh more. Definitely not as stronger when you're watching him, but he's got an inch on Pete. So Pete, 6'8", non-existent three-point shooter whatsoever. So now you're worried about his positional fit at the NBA level, where you're going to be like, unless you're like a Dyson Daniels level defender, unless you're like an elite center, an elite shot blocker, an elite defender at least, it is really tough to justify Koa Pete high minutes right now. If you're like a semi-competitive team in the league, yes, he could play a ton on like the Chicago Bulls next year, probably won't be good, or one of the bad projected teams next year like Sacramento. But I don't think he's going to play meaningful minutes, say in a playoff series for like the San Antonio Spurs or somebody like that, if you're not going to be a good three-point shooter. So Pete was somebody I thought could go back to school. I don't think he is. I think he's declared for the draft. I'm just going to look that up. I believe, as long as I think Tankathon actually has him in here, he will be, like right now he's going. So there's some other guys, Patrick Gungba, a little bit surprised he went back to school as well, but people are concerned about the medicals with Gungba just because he has this lingering foot issue. Sophomore, missed some time this year. I think had something in 2025. I thought was good this year. Maybe not like the rebounder and rim protector that you want him to be. And if he measures in at like 6'9.5" at the combine, all right. Like, is he going to be big enough to guard Rudy Gobert and guard Alex Sarr and these lanky fives at the NBA level if he's not going to be super quick laterally and he's not going to be somebody that's going to be like a weak side help? So he goes back to school where this could be not like a Zach Edey development track. Because, like, hey, Gungba 10-5 or 10-6 in year 2. What did Edey average in year 2 at Purdue? Obviously, Edey was a lot bigger. Edey averaged 14-7. I'm not saying Gungba's going to be like Zach Edey, because Zach Edey's like one of the greatest college players of all time. But could Patrick Gungba be the best player on Duke next year? So they add John Blackwell in the transfer portal. They're bringing in Darren Rippey. Not totally sold on Rippey to be like Cameron Boozer level prospect good. They're bringing back Caden Boozer. They're bringing back Caleb Foster. I don't think Dami Sarr has decided yet. They lose Nicholas Amenia in the transfer portal. They got like a couple other transfers, but Patrick Gungba has a clear path to get 10 shots a night next year. Could he average like 15-8, 16-9? Yeah, there is a realm for that, and Patrick Gungba could be flirting with maybe the Wooden Award, like at least a finalist, not actually win it, but at least flirt with being a finalist next year. So he goes back to school. Who knows about the 2027 big man class and how it's going to shape out? Like, you have Mika Murnan, you have Cam Williams, you have, I don't even know, like Eric Ryba, who left UConn to go to like USC. There's probably going to be some sophomore that I think emerges, and definitely some freshmen that emerge as well as like the top big man prospects. So Gungba goes back to help out his draft stock. I like it a lot for him, even though I would have taken him in the first round. Alan Graves is in the portal, but he could go in the draft. I think if he goes in the draft, he's 100% a first round pick, and I do wonder if Mullins, Hauk, and Gungba going back helps out his draft stock, because Graves this year was real, like an analytical like darling basically for Santa Clara. He ended up averaging, that's probably tough to look at. Let me just pull his stats up here. His like counting stats: 11 points or 12 points, 6.5 rebounds, 2 assists. He shot 51% from the field, 41% from 3, 75% from the free throw line. He moves fairly well, I would say. He's got great size, what you want is like a stretch 4 at the NBA level. He's not like center Coward type. At least Coward's like more of a 2, but Graves, I think, is physical enough to score down low. He could set good screens. He can operate in the short roll. I like his spot up shooting, and I think it's a good defender. And I think this is like a super safe prospect who still has like the age benefit, I believe, on his side. Like, he'll be 19 years old when he gets drafted. Y'all take that in the modern day. Like, kids are getting drafted as like what's Braden Burries' age? Because I think he's older for a freshman, right? He's younger than Braden Burries, who's a freshman that might go in the top 10. So Graves' age will definitely benefit him, and I think will be potentially a lottery pick if he does go into the draft. I think Christian Anderson, like there's rumors that he could get a bag from Texas Tech or somewhere else in the portal. Still TBD on that. Who knows? You might know by the time this video comes out. But I think everybody in this big board has declared, or at least I believe will declare. Like Nate Ament, I believe, is going to declare. There's rumors about him. I think he's going into the draft. Ade Mara, I think, is declared either way. I haven't heard anything that he won't go back. So yeah, AJ DeBonta declared today. Surprise, surprise. So as I've been watching a lot of the draft too, and I want to pull up what I tweeted today, because we had the Suns Thunder game last night and the Magic Pistons game, which was a blowout. I watched that one live. I actually fell asleep early in the Suns game because I'm like, it's going to be a late night for me tonight with the NFL draft and like the Knicks game and the Timberwolves game. Like I'm probably going to be up till like 3 a.m. tonight. So I was like, let me get like a good 8 hours tonight, watch the Suns game in the morning, and then finish that. And I'm like, you know what? I want to watch some Mikel Brown. And shout out Derek Parker, who I think deserves like a ton of credit for what he does on YouTube. Like he makes these great draft videos. If you want like another voice and just a simplified video, because he lays it out so well. I was watching that, and then I was watching one of his, like I watched his rewatched his game against NC State, where it was just a joy to watch. And I even watched or I pulled up, let me just throw up Mikel Brown's stats here. I was watching one of his worst games this year, but it was it was the Duke game. He goes 1 of 13 from the field, and I think it's good to get like a snapshot of like one of their worst games, one of their best games. He goes 1 of 7 from 3. He struggled to create any separation, but I think when you watch Brown this year, you're worried about that back issue, and that's always been a thing, or that's been a thing now that's kind of come up with the medicals with Mikel Brown. And I tweeted this out because I think the more I watch him, he should not go lower than 6 if the medicals check out. Now, if teams are scared about the back issue, that is something you do not want to play around with, because, hey, that is going to affect your speed. That is going to affect your acceleration, your deceleration. That's going to affect how you are as a defender. That's going to affect your ability to want to absorb contact at the NBA level. If I had a flaring back issue, look at Ben Simmons. Like, I do not want to throw my body at some 7 foot, 300 pound guy at the rim. Well, that's like Zach Edey, but 7 foot, 250 pound guy at the rim and fall on my back and risk never walking properly again. Like if you fall the wrong way, I don't want to risk that in the slightest. So if Mikel Brown does have a back issue medical, yes, we can drop him in the draft board. I would drop him 100%. Michael Porter Jr.-esque, but I think Michael Porter Jr. is like one of the best possible outcomes to recover from a back issue, because somebody at like 6'10" with that dropped him to 14, like. And he had the issues earlier in his career. The fact that what he's done over the last few years, he dealt with the shoulder issue last year. The fact that like he was healthy this year for Brooklyn at that level, like one of the best possible outcomes ever. So Mikel Brown has the size you want, that he's like 6'5". I think he's going to test at 6'5" at the combine. He's about 190 pounds. He's got like a 6'7", 6'8" wingspan. We're going to know more at the combine. He's already declared for the draft. I mentioned he's got the modern day size. And I think he's got the playmaking read. Like he can read out of the pick and roll so well. He can find guys in the opposite end of the half court. He can run different actions. He's going to find his guys for alley-oops. And there wasn't like the greatest big man at Louisville last year. He's going to have some pretty talented big men no matter where he goes at the NBA level. So I think he's got the playmaking feel. He has a shot-making ability, and he's a great shooter to play the 1 or the 2. He was, I think, the best player on the U19's FIBA World Cup team last year with AJ DeBonta on that team. I think Tyron Stokes might have been on that team. JJ Maniquit was on that team. He just transferred to Arizona. You had a lot of the top guys from the 26 draft and 27 draft. Cole Pete was a monster on that team as well. And I think he's got the scoring ability, shooting ability, and just like the ceiling to be one of the best players from this draft. And I think the medical is going to depend a lot. And I think if there's no issue on the back, his back issue, I think I'm bumping him up over Darius Cup to number 5. Because I do think he was not a good defender last year. Once again, got to take into account maybe the nagging back issue. Like that also could be such a massive part of why you were maybe an underwhelming defender. He's got the size. He's got the anticipation out of the passing lanes to, I think, be a good enough defender where you're not going to match up on him in the playoffs. And I think that's all that matters. I am drafting Mikel Brown for what he can be offensively, what he can be as a movement shooter, a spot-up shooter, somebody that can be a pick-and-roll maestro. And you're going to have to go over screens because you can't give him any bit of room. I don't like anything defensively is an added bonus at that point. So the fact that he can be serviceable defensively is more than a home run, I think, if you're going to take him at number 5. And I think it also allows him so many more options to get drafted. Like if you're taking Darius Cuff, he's probably going to be your pure point guard. You're not drafting him to be a 2. So you kind of need like I don't know. You got to have him like go to a team where you're going to give him the rock, bring up the court. You're not going to run him off ball screens. You're not going to run a flare action probably for Darius Cuff. Like Peterson is my guard 1. If there's no medical concern about Brown, I think he's going to be my guard 2. I think he's going to be a better shooter than Keaton Wagler, which might be a hot take. Now Brown, 18, or that's not really the shooting numbers, but 41% from the field, a concern. I'm going to bring up the back issue. I am. He shot 34% from 3 on 7.5 attempts, an elite free throw shooter, which there's a translation with that at the NBA level. And I do want to bring up Wagler, who I think could be debatable with Brown. Brown is a better athlete. Wagler shot 39% from 3 last year on about 6 attempts a night. He shot 79% from the free throw line on about 6 attempts a night. I think the speed and the ability to play Brown off ball is going to be way more advantageous than Wagler at the next level, and that's kind of where I have the difference between the two. They're about the same age, right? Or Brown is an older freshman, like 20 years old as a freshman. It's crazy. So you were 19 at the start of the year. I was 17 at the start of my freshman year, but hey, I'm not sick of basketball. So I wanted to talk about Brown a little bit. We're going to learn more about the medicals. I think there's been a lot of hype too on Caleb Wilson as potentially a top pick in the draft, which, hey, I would take Caleb Wilson number 1 overall in the 2024 draft. I would have taken Caleb Wilson number 3 overall. I like Dylan Harper a lot. I would have taken him number 3 overall last year. 2023, I would have probably taken him 2 or 3. 2022, I would have taken him 2 or 3 because I like Chet a lot. 2021, I would have probably taken him, I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4. But either way, Caleb Wilson is normally a top 3 prospect in most years, and I think could have the case to going top 3 this year as well, because this man is going to be a stud defender out of the gate. Like, he's going to be somebody that you're going to wake up in the morning. Let's say he goes to the Kings. You fell asleep early on the East Coast. You're going to wake up. You're going to scroll Instagram. You're going to scroll TikTok. You're going to see a house of highlights, chase down block, where he's going to smack that ball right off the backboard. And hey, you might be running the other way with it immediately off the catch. So like, he is going to make so many eye-popping blocks next year. I think physical, freakish defensive plays for a rookie. The one thing that I'm like, I can't really fully say until we know the draft order is like, say I run a lottery sim, right? And Indiana goes number 1. You're not taking probably Wilson over to Bonsa. At least Peterson for me. Memphis 2, I think you got to take the home run swing. Like, you're a small market. You're a team that does not have its franchise player because you're probably trading John Morant. You got to take the scoring upside, I think the ceiling upside of what Peterson and DeBonta could be as shot creators in the playoffs. Watch the Wilson tape. He is such a physical presence down low for somebody that's not even, like, he doesn't weigh that much for somebody that's like 6'10", 6 foot, like, his standing reach is going to be crazy at the combine, like 6'10", 215. Like, definitely could put on some more weight. I use this analogy throughout the whole year, but it's like, you know how you're taking like a layup in 2K and you think you're going to miss it, so you're already spamming Y to like get the rebound? That's how he plays. Like, no matter if it's going in, it's not, he is going for that rebound, and scouts are going to love the motor because it is fully on display this year. The motor is night and day to like Darren Peterson when you're watching those two guys play. But like, when you're a top team, now this could be like where the board falls in a certain way. 3, the Dallas Mavericks. I'm still taking Boozer, because I still like Boozer, what you're taking him this high to be offensively long-term. But I could see the reasoning for taking Wilson over Boozer to a team like Dallas, because you already have your franchise guy. Cooper Flagg, when you're in Game 7 of the playoffs, that is the guy you're relying on. You don't need to find that guy. Wilson is now just a great complementary piece defensively. He's going to catch alley-oops from Cooper Flagg into the dunker spot. He's going to set great screens. He's going to be such a great help anchor defender. That is why you're taking Wilson, to complement Cooper Flagg better than what Boozer will be, because you like Wilson's defense over Boozer. You like his alley-oop catching over Boozer. You like what he can be as a screen setter over Boozer. Now, if it's Sacramento at 3, let's say you swap Sacramento and Dallas, I am taking Boozer 100%. I don't think they should take Wilson over Boozer, because I need somebody that could be that number 1 offensively one day. I do not think that could be Caleb Wilson. I do think Boozer is going to be great offensively out of the short roll. He's going to be a great post scorer. He was a good enough 3-point shooter last year to make me think that he should be a good 3-point shooter at the NBA level. 39% from 3. Also, like what he was in high school. He was shifty. He had bend to him. He put on a lot of weight. Maybe he loses a little bit of weight and he becomes a little bit more shifty at 6'9". And now you're getting that home run selection ceiling long-term guy that can average 25 points. I just think if you're going to tell me Boozer or Wilson's going to average 25 points in the NBA, I'm taking Boozer, like no questions about it. And that's why I think if you're Sacramento, you got to take a home run swing. If you're Brooklyn, you got to take the home run swing. I mean, Washington and Utah, who the hell knows, like with these teams at this point, because they added AD, Trae Young, Jaren Jackson Jr., but I still think you got to take the home run swing. If it's a team like Atlanta at number 3, I could see the Wilson for their vision long term. Like Wilson can keep up with Non, Jalen Johnson, can Cameron Boozer? There's some questions with that, right? If you're Chicago, take the home run swing. So I think it really does come down to who is drafting at number 3. Like if it's the Pacers at number 3 and it's AJ versus Boozer, or excuse me, if it's Boozer versus Wilson, there's a debate for that. But I think you take Boozer long term. So that's just kind of me talking more about the top 3, top 4. And then I think there's like a really interesting range from like, I don't know, 8 and on if we're just going to look at this tankathon board, right? Like you have Nate Ament, I would not take him in the top 10 unless you're willing to give him a full year or 2 development. Like Chicago can do that. Milwaukee can afford to do that if they trade Giannis. I don't like Nate Ament going to the Atlanta Hawks. Like I would hate that if that is the spot for him. I would hate him in Golden State. OKC, I don't hate because, hey, they've done that with Topic. They kind of did that with Ousmane Dieng, even though he never really got full playing time. But I think Ament will be a better player than Ousmane Dieng when he's like 23 years old. So I think he really developed or needs to go to the good spot for where he can actually have a full year of development, maybe with the G League, and work on his aggressiveness, working on saying, hey, I need you to put your head down and I need you to try to throw it down on somebody and stop playing so soft for somebody at his size. And then you have a couple teams now, like I don't think I've really talked about too much, like Chicago, biggest Blazers fans in the playing tournament, and they get rewarded. They have a second first round pick. Like hell yeah. Chicago like could end up with one of the Braden Burries. I would not take Burries over Brown unless the medical, but hey, you end up with Burries, like this, I think, high-end role player at his peak where he is going to be Derek White-ish. I'm fine with that in Chicago, 100%. And then I'm able to add a Quaidance, a Sinak, a Steinbach, and a Dave Mara, a big at 15, where I think a lot of those guys are going to be in that range. Hell yeah. I think it's going to be a pretty guard-heavy top 10. That is perfect for Chicago, who doesn't really need any guards, and they can land one of these bigs at number 15 or one of these front court players. Charlotte's got like 2 first-round picks kind of in the same range. They're going to end up with most likely 14 and 18. But yeah, that is, hey, Quaidance and Mara, yeah, like let's add to that front court completely long-term and just get these physical presences down low. I think they need, yes, another shot creator, but I think like, I mean, Hornets fans might disagree, but I just want them like move on from Miles Bridges. I think you can add another big. As much as I love Diabate, is there another offensive option out there to open things up creatively? We'll see. So I think Charlotte's in a really good spot. Hey, how about that Detroit swap? Like you might move up 7 picks for trading away Jaden Ivey, which, yeah, I mean, you technically sold low on him. Like if you traded him last year or in the 2024 offseason, might have worked out, but yeah, Chicago waived him, and I made a video on this channel saying I love the Jaden Ivey trade, and I didn't know what was going on off the court, but now Detroit's picking at 21, where Isaiah Evans declared. That could be a good shooter for you. They need like that other shot creator. I don't know if you're going to draft that. Like it's very hard to find a shot creator at number 21 that could be a number 2 in the playoffs next to Cade Cunningham. Maybe you take the swing on Cameron Carr. Maybe you take the swing on Malik Thomas. Like those 2 guys would fit that mold. Maybe you're high on Dalen Swain, although you're worried a little bit about the 3-point shot, 34% from 3 last year on 2.5 attempts, but good free throw shooter. Makes me think there could be something there where I think Detroit is in a really good spot right now. Watching Toronto in the playoffs, I mean, they might need another center because they didn't have a backup center pretty much throughout the year. Mamu is like, I don't know. He looks bigger than he actually is. So would that say he's like a big 6'8"? I don't know why I'm looking up his sports basketball reference. Let me just look up what he is on basketball reference real quick. Like Mamu, is he 6'8" or 6'9"? No way he's 6'11". Like it's funny how this works, right? Because in college he was listed at 6'11" from Seton Hall. And then, wow, he was on that good Seton Hall 2020 team. He's got a really cool development path, but he's listed at 6'9" in the NBA. Like not the defender you want as a rim protector. Jakob Poeltl has to be better next year with the back injury. You're asking a lot out of Conor Boyles to be your rim protector 5. That could be the range where maybe Toronto would have taken like a Patrick Gungba, but that could be a Damara if they really like him, and I wouldn't mind that. That could be a Mo Krivas if he officially declares for the draft. I think Tyler Tanner is also another guy that can go back to school. Ibuka Okorie going to the draft surprised me. He and like Malik Thomas were fringe first round picks for me, but I think all these guys going back to school, they're shooting up because I did mention that Ibuka he would slide in if anybody goes back, and also Malik Thomas for me. Kind of like them over Cam Carr. Cam Carr is going to be a weird fit at the NBA level because he's not going to get, I think because I think he's declared. Pretty sure he's declared. He was such an improved player from Tennessee where you look, he averaged 4.8 points last year, up to 19 points this year. And he was a good 3-point shooter. Needs to put on a little bit of weight, but I do think you can maybe trust him as a tertiary scoring option offensively. Maybe at his peak one day. So we'll see what happens. I mean, Floyd Badunga ended up going to Louisville, so he's off the board. I can't see Elijah Arenas going into the draft. I think Vasar might go back to UNC. Terrace Reed's in the draft. Ejiofor's in the draft. They're seniors. Juke Harris, I think, is going to get a bag from like Tennessee or UNC at the end of the day. I don't know if any, like Milan might get a bag from like Kentucky, but he might go in the draft. Chinelu declared, but could go back, and I think will go back. So we'll see. So the second round is going to be all seniors. Like you could see it here. Senior, 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 senior. Like all these guys are going to be 23, 24. And I think that's just what it's going to be nowadays with the NIL just element. I don't think we're ever going to get rid of the first round. Like that would just be silly. But yeah, we are going to see a lot of anybody that's like 21 or younger that has 2 years of eligibility and you're not a guaranteed top 25 pick. You're probably going back to school and making a bag in the transfer portal. Like Floyd Badunga probably got like $4 million from Louisville, and I don't even know if he would have gone $4 million on his rookie deal. And he's going to be like, hey, he was fine this year. He was pretty good. Like I think a fringe first rounder. He averaged 9 rebounds and is it really not going to let me go over there? 13 points. Like he can average what I said about Patrick Gumba earlier at Louisville with who they get Jackson Shellstad in the transfer portal as well. So we'll see what ends up happening. I think there could be some international guys that slide up here. Like it's a light international class now. It's Karim Lopez, who I think is the only guy I would take in the top 20 internationally. You have Dash Daniels, who I still like long term, might be a first round guy, even though the offense was non-existent at Melbourne this year. You have Sergio Delaria from Valencia, who I think had his moments and definitely improved. I think he was good in, was it the ACB, but struggled in the EuroLeague, which I guess is kind of common because he's not going to play as much. So yeah, he played 7 more minutes a night in the ACB, 9 points, 3.5 assists, shot 42% from 3. I mean, hey, it is tough to crack playing time in the EuroLeague. Like if I look up, can I get Mika's stats here? Hold on, I don't even know if I'm spelling that. I'm not even spelling that right. Hold on. If I go Mika Marinin, oh, it's 2 I's, 2 K's. Do I get him here? Okay, yeah. He played 1.8 minutes in the EuroLeague. Yeah, and this guy was like a huge deal for Eurobasket. I think there were talks about him playing college ball, but he might come over this year. Who knows? Like he might go to UNC at this point for the 2027 draft. We could see Luigi Siogo, who I gotta watch more of. I could even be butchering his name. I didn't watch him at all this past year at Mega Basket. I believe he played in, which is just a NBA factory. They had Markovic, I believe, last year played at Mega Basket. Nikola Topic played at Mega Basket. Jokic played at Mega Basket, I believe. Like this guy, this program in Serbia just churns out NBA talent. He averaged 8 points, 5 rebounds, 26 from 3, 70% on 2s. He's 19 years old. We'll see. Like, but I think there's a chance he goes top 40 just because of the lack of international talent. Ben Henschel, there's probably going to be somebody that flies up leading up to the draft as well. So yeah, I just talked for 27 minutes about the draft. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, I think I'm going to be doing a maybe 2-round mock draft out on Saturday here on the channel. Lottery spin. Still have 2 weeks out from the lottery, so make sure you subscribe. Drop a thumbs up if you do enjoy the draft content. Might have another video out today, like late night. If anything crazy happens in the NBA, we do have the NFL draft tonight. So hey, I have an NFL channel. It's just literally my name, Matthew Geist, on YouTube, where I do NFL content. Going to be doing my winners and losers. Going to be doing draft grades tomorrow morning. It's a fun time, NBA playoffs. If you like the NHL, you got NHL playoffs, the NFL draft. Hope you guys enjoyed. Catch you on the next one. Peace.